मात्रे नमः। ॐ श्री 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 मात्रे नमः।
वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ
रक्ताभां त्रिनेत्रां अरुणिमावसनां रत्नताटङ्करम्यां हस्ताम्बोजैः मदनधनुस्यायकैर्विस्फुरन्ती आपीनो तुङ्गवक्षोरुहत् कलशलुटत्तारहारोज्ज्वलाङ्गी ध्यायेत् अम्भोरुहस्ताम् अरुणिमवसनाम् ईश्वरीम् ईश्वराणाम् ईश्वरीम्
नमस्ते।
and welcome. Pardon me for that. Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam, or KYG. Thank you as always for participating, gracing this wonderful satsang with your gracious presence. Together we explore, learn, and humbly receive the teachings of the divine from the highest possible dimension, the Sri Chakra and the bindu within the Sri Chakra. We have almost completed, with divine grace, all of the energies that are present in the Sri Chakra. I had started off actually teaching the Khadgamala, but I was guided to first explain the Sri Chakra in itself, and therefore I moved to focusing more on the Sri Chakra and the components of the Sri Chakra, the energies embedded in the Sri Chakra. And now we are almost there. In today's class, we'll cover an interesting area. Once we do that, then we come back to studying the Sri Chakra in the context of the Sri Devi Khadgamala. The learning has just begun. But there is a phase in every, there is a beginning and an end to every phase of this kind of learning, which will take lifetime, if not many lifetimes. And therefore the first phase of this learning is coming to an end when we come back to the Devi Khadgamala and then learn more about how to chant, what to do, and the ritual part of it. The arrangement of the names or the energies will differ from how we learnt. There was a question to me that the 16 Nitya Devis that we covered in the last class, they are discussed very much in the beginning of Khadgamala. Not discussed, they are chanted right in the beginning, but you have come to it in the end. Is it a different practice? And I thought I made it clear in the last class, but nevertheless, I'll still make it clear. It's not a different practice. It is the way I have been guided to approach. First, the idea is to understand the Sri Chakra, entering the Sri Chakra from the outermost, understanding every part of it, every nuances, every energy that is present there. And then we will go through the Khadgamala, which is one of the methods of worshipping the Sri Chakra. There are many methods. Sri Vidya itself is a whole body of knowledge. There are many, many ways to meditate, to focus, to contemplate, to worship the Sri Chakra, yantra as it is called. And so, in today's class, what do we learn? We are still in the chakra. Today we are going to learn about Swaminis and Yoginis. Swaminis and Yoginis. For some reason, I was very purposefully, if you will, for the lack of any other word, guided not to go in a very logical order, especially in the logical order of a particular sloka or a particular chant. Because then our mind becomes fixed on that particular order. But when we learn the Sri Chakra and meditate on the Sri Chakra, we need to break those neural paths. So I did not follow any set path or a logical path, except that we went from the outermost avarana, first to second to third to fourth. That was broadly speaking. And we went petal by petal. I could have done it even more systematically, quote unquote systematically, but then that I was guided to break that conditioned idea of thinking. And therefore, allow me now to introduce at this stage, towards the very end, a kind of a summary of each of these chakras or avarnas. Swaminis. Swamini, Swami, Swamini. Swami is the male, And Swamini means female. Like you have yogi and yogini. Because this is a meditation on the cosmic female energy, we talk about Swaminis and Yoginis who are present in each of these chakras. Now we are talking of chakras, 9 chakras or 9 avarnas. So each of these 9 avarnas, there is a Swamini and there is a Yogini in each of these avarnas. So what is the difference? What does this mean, Swamini and Yogini? Swamini is the one who owns that piece of real estate, if you will. She is the one who protects it. She is the one who guards it. Without her permission, you cannot even enter. But nevertheless, we don't seek a permission to enter these chakras. As we are chanting the Devi Khadgamala stotra, we actually thank her. At the end of one particular avarana, we thank her and bow to her. Because when we do that in this practice, a unique way of doing it is, it is kind of summarizes all these energies into one energy, the Swamini. Once her energy is released, then all the others find their respective places in our consciousness. Some of you might say, then why not just please these Swaminis and move along? Then we have just 9 into, let's say, 9 Swaminis and 9 Yoginis, so just about 18 names. Why 182 names? Well, the Swamini energy itself is a collection of all these. So there is no possible way to invoke the Swamini without invoking all of the other Devis. And therefore in Khadgamala, you enter the Avarna or the first gate. Then you go through all the energies, whether it is a square, whether it's a petal or a round, or whether it is triangles, and we'll come to that. Whether it is any of these, you go around invoking all these energies. And then, because all of these energies are invoked, like a virtual cloud, all of them together reveal to you the Swamini who's the owner of them. It's like, how can I put a good example? It's like back in India many years ago, I don't know how it is now. In order to get an audience with somebody up in the government, you had to go and bribe somebody in the office. And then you say, hey, listen, just give me an audience. I need to go up there. I need to speak something with them. I need a paper passed or signed. Then the little sentry at the door will say, who takes care of me? I am nobody. So just, whatever you do. And so I'll say, don't worry, I'll take care of you. Then he's happy. And then he goes and speaks to somebody else. That one is happy. So you're invoking these energies as you're passing into the chakra. And then because they all are invoked, the final owner or the master reveals himself or herself. Well, I can't think of any other example, but may not be the right one, I guess. But you get an idea of how these energies are. And that's why we invoke them first. And then the Swamini reveals herself. And when she reveals herself, if she reveals herself to you, then those energies in the chakras are functional in your consciousness. Mind you, I have said this before also. If you practice this regularly, systematically, with great devotion, intensity, fervor, with complete understanding, studying it again and again and again, these energies will become manifest in your consciousness in many ways. You will know it in your heart. You will be guided. They will speak to you. They will come in your dreams. However it is, your own higher self will want to communicate with you. The divine will choose that to happen. But the moment we become lax on these, for whatever reason it is, right? The moment we do that, what happens to these energies? They become dormant. They just go back to that dormant state. No harm will fall. They just go back to that dormant state. Just like you do exercises, the muscles get stronger. You stretch a lot, you become more flexible. You stop exercises, what will happen? You can't keep saying I was strong 10 years ago. It makes no sense. I can't tell you I had this great experience 6 years ago. What is its application now? Correct? So what happens is when I stop doing sadhana, then especially sadhanas like these where we are focusing on energy principle, those energies go back to the dormant state. I'm sorry. It's based on this concept. It is said that the devatas means these beings, these energy principles that exist in our own body. Buddhya karshini, ahankara karshini, all of these are our own sparsha karshini. The sense of touch, the sense of taste, the sense of all of these are energies, right? For them to fully be awakened in a divine manner, to reveal to you how that source is empowering them, that revelation goes back into a dormant state. And so it is that we are encouraged to keep up this practice. So what happens to the Swamini who reveals herself to you may also go back into the blur, because she becomes dormant as all the energies that she guides becomes dormant. She also disappears back into our unconscious. All of these are memories, are awakenings within us. They are not energies outside of us. Well, in a philosophical sense, in a more realistic sense, they are omnipresent energies. But if I were to tell you that you are omnipresent, it will be a very difficult concept to accept and comprehend. It is perhaps easier to relate to these energies within us. That's how we learn the Sri Chakra. So Swaminis are the mother principle or the mother energy of each Avarna. She becomes awakened, potent, when all of the energies are awakened. So that is Swamini, because she is the owner of them. Without her permission, without her blessing, none of those energies will even be able to reach us. And she can be awakened only when all of them come together. There is no such thing as I've achieved 90% in an Avarna. It has to be 100% for this Swamini to reveal herself in our consciousness through prayer, to meditation, and so on. And the meaning of these, you will understand it. For without a doubt, these energies manifest in our everyday life. Now, yoginis. Who are yoginis then? Yoginis are the ones who are like gurus. They are the ones who will guide you to release the energy that is inherent in that Avarna. It's a collection of Swamini, she reveals herself in all her glory. But how do you assimilate that? How do you take that into your being? How do you accept, digest that experience, rather? Yogini is the one who translates these energies into experience, into our consciousness. So that is an energy. Revelation, darshan is one energy, but translation of that experience into awakening, into true realization, into wisdom and knowledge, yoginis do that. Yes, I know some of you may say, but all of this is finally just one Devi, right? Why are we complicating it? Again, this is something we came across before as well. I am the same person, but with my wife, I talk differently. Then I behave and talk differently with my in-laws. I talk differently, I appear differently to my friends here, right in front of the camera. I appear all stoic and pious, right? So there is it may not be very different from who I am, but what I do in the privacy of my bedroom, I cannot probably do or behave in front of a camera. What I do in the privacy of my closet or in my shower, I cannot do that in an office space. How I deal with my child, how I speak with my child, I cannot do that same communication, that same behavior with a group of team members at my work. But the person is the same. Each person who are on the other end interacting with me are seeing me as a different person. For some, they will say, Sir, Sunder Sir. Somebody will say, Sundar Anna. A child will say, Appa, or Uncle, or Tata. I have a grandchild who calls me Tata. So we have different people calling me different names. Sometimes the same person can call us different names. When Maya is in a good mood, she can call me honey. When she calls me Sunder, I know that I've done something wrong, right? So the same person can address me differently. And it is in that same context, there's nothing more complicated, nothing more mystical, that the energy, the principle, the primordial energy is the same, but we address them based on the function that the energy is performing at that moment. If it is coming through the intellect, then buddhi akarshani. If that energy is flowing through the sense of I, ahankara akarshani, and so on. Anyway, so let us go to back to the slides and let us explore these. So this is the first Avarna, done a long time ago. This had 3 gates, if you will, 3 walls. Perhaps the most important one to get through, which is the basic, it's called this physical dimension, which we can relate to. Who is the Swamini and the Yogini of this Avarna? The first Avarna. So the first Avarna, the Swami, is called Trailokya Mohana Chakra Swamini. All of them will have one word called Chakra Swamini. Swamini of this chakra. This chakra. Like I told you, these are all twirling whirlpools of energy. We have taken a point in time for meditation. These are not static. Just because we draw it on a piece of paper, it is not static. So, Swamini of the chakra. So, Chakra Swamini. What is the name of this Chakra Swamini? Trailokya Mohana Chakra Swami. The chakra gives us the empowerment, the power to enchant the 3 worlds. In this case, the 3 worlds are the 3 walls. The first wall, the second wall, and the third wall. We enchant you by invoking all these energies. You get the energy to enchant. In all these 3 worlds means the 3 walls are not different from the 3 worlds. The Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swarloka. It's all the awakened state, the dream state, the deep sleep state. Enchantment means that you become accepted. You get access. You can walk freely. You can experience freely. When you start meditating, meditation becomes very natural. Communication becomes very natural. There's enchantment. That enchantment becomes your nature. I'm not talking of enchantment by way of enchanting some friend and enchanting other. That is all some people may interpret that way, but that's all a very ridiculous, as far as I'm concerned, because these practices are for realizing the spirit and the self, nothing less. So enchantment here is I become enchanted, and when I enter my higher dimensions, I can easily go into that. There are no hidden fears that blocks me. So enchantment is the energy of this chakra, and she is the Swamini of that power that is given to us. How do we experience it? Like I just said, when you sit for meditation, as an example, because you're entering into a subtler dimension of your breath. People say, how do I focus on my breath? How can I not get focus of my mind? I start thinking and then other thoughts come in. That is lack of enchantment. Either you are not enchanted or the energies within is not enchanted by you. So the word enchantment is kind of the best synonym I could come up with, Trailokya Mohana. So the Mohana is you please that energy, and that energies get enchanted by you, and in that the chakra begins to manifest that energy. The more our sadhana, our meditations, our pujas and all become more focused and easy to practice, know that the Swamini of this chakra is slowly beginning to shower her grace. Trailokya Mohana Chakra. And she is the Swamini. Yogini. Now, the one that is actually helping you, guiding you, she is Prakata Yogini. She is the yogini of manifestations. She actually brings the effort of your sadhana into fruition. For example, if you are struggling with yogasanas, I can only talk of these examples because I can relate to them from my own experience. But when these things suddenly happen, body becomes flexible, you feel the prana moving, suddenly body becomes light, and asanas almost conduct by themselves. Many days when you just let go and allow the body to perform the asanas, she does it. She just begins to manifest it for you. Yogini, Prakata Yogini. She begins to manifest there. So these are the energies of this first Avarna. Then comes the second Avarna. If you remember, we took some time to studying the 16 petal lotus. So the Swamini of this second Avarna, which the circle inside of the square. So I'm going to now go on with every Avarna, complete the Sri Chakra, so that it will give you a context of where that Avarna is. The second Avarna, what is this energy? This energy is Sarvasha Paripuraka. Sarvasha, Sarva Asha Paripuraka. Sarva Asha Paripuraka. Asha means wishes, desires. Sarva Asha Paripuraka. Completely fills all those desires, even before they come up. To me, that is the energy of pure contentment that comes as grace. Even before the desires, they are fulfilled. In other words, contentment, she gives you the contentment, the feeling of fullness, the feeling of abundance is presented to you, and therefore there is no desire. Sarvasha Paripuraka. I'm not saying she wouldn't fulfill a desire, but I'm saying in her completeness, she gives you a sense of such belonging. I can always go to her. If you're a son of a multi-billionaire, whatever, you're not going to be worried about carrying a few rupees in your pocket every time. Or you're not worried about your pocket money every month or what am I going to get? You know you're going to inherit, or you've already inherited something that will take care of you for many lifetimes. If there is anything like that. But I'm just giving an example. You wouldn't be worried about certain things, right? Because the Father's riches has provided that for you already. So like that it is. This energy of this. So when we go back and when we chant the sloka and come back to these 16 energies, when we awaken these 16 energies, harness the energies, and they all come together in coherence, in grace, in beauty, and in harmony. They don't have to be equal, but they will harmonize for you in such a way that Sarvasha Paripuraka, that energy will manifest because the Swamini will begin to appear and bless you. A sense of deep contentment will arise in your practice. You will stop seeking, even if it is spiritual liberation, you will stop eventually seeking. You can't force this upon yourself, but it will come. It will come because of the Swamini. There will be no thing like, where am I going with this? How am I going to get darshan? How am I going to get the blessings? How will I know if I get the blessings? All of that will disappear. Then know in your heart, you will know in your heart. I don't have to tell you, you don't have to look up any book or TV or YouTube channel. You will know that there is a sense of deep peace and contentment. So then Swamini, she begins to arise and manifest as a collection of these energies that are beginning to harmonize and form a beautiful manifestation. These are all beautiful experiences, my dear brothers and sisters. They shape the spirit and the spiritual journey so beautifully that one would never have to look back. And yet for somebody else who may not understand these, may say, but he's still struggling, or she is still struggling to pay bills, or he is this and that. None of that has anything to do with this. The spirit is so vast and so rich and so abundant that this materialistic plane that you and I are dealing with right now in this dimension is a tiny fragment. Here we are talking of the ability to open up to a much higher, more expansive dimension that we have learnt about, that we have talked about, or perhaps experienced. The yogini, she is Gupta yogini. She is the yogini of hidden secrets. Gupta means hidden. These secrets are hidden. So she is the yogini, and she will begin to reveal to you as a matter of this contentment. She begins to reveal to you secrets of your own mind. See, whenever there is thirst, wanting, craving, then all of these energies don't manifest. Then we are using a little bit of these energies, not understanding them completely in their circles. And so there is disharmony in these energies. And therefore the Swamini doesn't manifest, the Yogini does not reveal. And so we are stuck with what we assume, what we know as intellect, and what we know as sensual pleasures, this, that. But in the 16 petals, all of them open up very beautifully. So then the Yogini begins to reveal the secrets hidden behind each of these experiences. There is no experience outside the divine realm. Even the sensual ones are but tastes of the divine spirit. Then comes the third Avarna. The third Avarna with 8 petals. The third Avarna, this energy of this, when all the 8 petals, the Devis of these 8 petals are beginning to awaken, they begin to harmonize into Sarva Sankshobhana. Sarva Sankshobhana is Sankshobhana. We studied it under mudras. We'll come and revisit that as well when we learn how to chant and practice, what mudra to hold when, and so on. This one particular name appears many times, and people get confused. Oh, it's the Sarva Sankshobhini mudra, it must be the same mudra here. No, it's not. Of course, there is a reference and connection, but here, this third Avarna is actually opens now. What is the fourth Avarna? Triangles. Triangles, like I explained to you, shapes are aerodynamic in nature. From there, speed increases. So that means awakening begins. The Kundalini opens. The Devi is awake in us. Okay. So here, Sankshobhana is vibrations, agitation. She is the one who causes that. She begins to remove all that unwanted thoughts that we have had. Through vibration, she clears all that unwanted frequencies that our mind dealt with. Everything is cleared. Sarva Sankshobhana. So that is the energy here. The inner cleansing begins to happen very beautifully here, which is a prelude for us to enter the triangle phase of the Sri Chakra. Just like the first 3 balls were so difficult to penetrate because you are entering into the petals phase. Now from the petals phase, you are entering into the triangle phase. The triangle phases are more intense, more deep, and they suck you into the vortex of self-realization. In other words, relieve you from all of your limitations. So here the yogini, if you thought the previous one was hidden secrets, and you found hidden talents within you and creative ideas from within you, and you thought all that was wonderful, here she is the guardian of all secrets, Guptatara Yogini. Guptatara Yogini. Secret of secrets, she guards them, and she's the one who reveals them to us. Okay? So this is Swamini and Yogini. These things will slowly come to more clearer understanding as we practice, when these yoginis themselves begin. But remember, yoginis and swaminis are a sum energy of the petals and the energies in the chakra. They are not separate. They are sum total of these energies. So the more we meditate on these energies, their meaning that we took so long to study and understand, meditating on one name at a time, perhaps a whole day, perhaps a whole week. When we do that, then these yoginis will reveal themselves to us. then you'll get so many aha moments in your own meditation, in your own understanding. Your comprehension skills will improve so deeply that you will be able to read direct texts directly, the intense philosophical texts, and you will, I shouldn't say easily, but relatively clearly you will begin to understand the meaning and the purport of those verses and so on. And that kind of understanding will come from so deep within that you will not even doubt that. And you will allow that to change as your experiences change as well. As these yoginis become to manifest more and more and more, as these Swaminis begin to manifest more and more and more clearly, more vibrantly in our consciousness. So this is the third Avarna. Now comes the fourth Avarna. So the fourth Avarna, like I said, is the 14. We talked about the 14 worlds and all of that. So an intense 14 triangles. So the fourth Avarna here is Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra Swami. This chakra, the energy, the sum total energy of this chakra is Sarva Saubhagyadayaka. It is, this energy it's like a grantor of all good fortune. Sarva Saubhagya. Sarva means all. Saubhagya is good fortune. Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra Swamini. You begin to inherit good fortune upon good fortune. When these triangles begin, when the energies in these triangles begin to shower their grace, then that Swamini awakens and you begin to experience good fortune in your life. You meet good friends. Your family becomes more loving. Not that they may not be, this doesn't matter, but I'm just saying that you will experience love, harmony, goodwill, peace. You will want to do good things. You will be allowed to do good things. You will meet good friends, great friends. You will come across great books to read, great shows to watch. Suddenly you will be blessed. A lot of blessings pour from all over. Sarva Saubhagyadayaka, Chakra Swamini. The yogini then is the one that reveals, she is the energy of ancient practices. All of us have taken many lifetimes to come to this stage. If you are watching this program, this satsang, if I am talking about this and you and I together are exploring the idea of Sri Chakra and higher dimensions, it is not a matter of chance. It's certainly not a coincidence, and it's certainly not an effort on your part or my part that we can relate to in one lifetime. It is a collection of many lifetimes of our searches and efforts, and therefore it is always revealed as a matter of grace. So the yogini who reveals to us will reveal to us the ancient practices that you and I have done in many lifetimes ago. We have connections with ancestors, connections with rishis, connections with yogis. It doesn't matter what country, religion and all of that you began. We're talking of the very early civilizations where population was very less and all that they cared about was finding more meaning in life. So these yoginis begin to reveal, these energies begin to reveal from our own unconscious, the ancient practices. And then suddenly you will realize, aha, this is how I should do. That is how I should do. This is why in these practices are not supposed to be dogmatic. We'll talk about it in some other context later again. But it is very important to understand, once your yogini awakens, she guides you, you will know it may be different from what your neighbor is doing or what somebody else is doing or what is very popular today on the internet or so many books are published. Your practice may be different, but you know in your heart there is no doubt because she's guiding you. This is how she does it. This is the yogini that will begin to open up. Because that's why we touched upon the 14 lokas. All dimensions, when they come into harmony, the 7 lower dimensions or the darker dimension and the 7 lighter dimensions, in other words, the ones that we can see and experience and the ones we are in the unconscious and in the dark. So the 7 lower and the 7 higher, if you will, all of these, when they come into harmony in us, then the yogini is sampradaya yogini. Samprada means tradition. Samprada means ancient. Samprada means the ancient practices, traditional practices. We shouldn't confuse in this context. I wouldn't confuse rather with something to do with religion. Today we blame everything or put everything on in the name of religion and say, this is tradition, this is tradition. That tradition could be just about 150 years old, or could be 200 years old, or could be 500 years old. But the ancient traditions that the yoginis reveal to you are the ones that are innermost and the most sacred ones, which were never dogmatic, which connect you with practices that connect you to your higher self. Anyway, so that's the 4th avarana. The 5th avarana is this chakra, this Swamini, is sarvartha sadhaka. Sarvartha sadhaka. Sarva means all. Artha means accomplishment. She gives you that sense of accomplishment, all-round accomplishment. Sarvartha sadhaka. Sadhaka is all efforts that you put finds accomplished. You have a list of tasks. You can say done, and done. Sarvartha sadhaka. So that is a very beautiful energy. Whatever you take, in other words, whatever you take up to do, you will not be bogged down by obstacles. Not that there won't be obstacles. There will be obstacles, which is natural. But you will learn how to handle them. You will learn how to live with some. If some you cannot change, then you just learn to live with them. And those you can, you will have the ability to turn around those obstacles into excuses or reasons for success. Stepping stones, if you will, for success. I think there's a quote, something like that, right? Obstacles are nothing but stepping stones to success. But that idea to perceive them that way comes because of the grace of Sarvartha Sadhaka. She comes, Sarvartha Sadhike. She comes and she helps you see that. And therefore, you'll only see accomplishments. You will never see failure. You will never perceive failure. You will never feel failure. You will only, if something that you struggled hard for didn't succeed, you will be happy that you would put in your best. And your conscience is clear. And therefore, Sarvartha Sadhaka. And the yogini, this is a very interesting concept. Kulottirna yogini. Kulottirna yogini. Uttira means graduation. So in this case, she graduates you or liberates you. From what? Kula. Kula means our attachments, our ties, I am from this clan, I'm a human being, I'm so and so from so and so place and all of that. I have a clan that I come from, if you will. She liberates you from that clan, because these ties that I have around me, I am Sunder, I am born in India, I am this thing and that thing, I've learned this, I've learned that, my father was so and so, my grandfather was so and so, my great grandfather was so and so, we come from this ancestry. All of that are actually bondages. So Kulottirna Yogini cuts those ties for you in this chakra. She is the one who guides you to cut those ties and free you, liberates you, because your ultimate kula is, in other words, your true clan. Where do you and I belong to? To the Shiva consciousness. The Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Shivoham. That is where we have to go. That is our true home. That is where we came from. All the other things are but luggages that we have carried on and built up along the way. But how do we free? She is that energy that begins to cut those ties. Detachment comes, therefore, as a grace of this energy. I remember talking about this from one of the Varanasi videos as well. That's one of the energies you cannot really practice. It comes as a matter of grace. This is what I meant. Kulotir in a yogini, when she begins to awaken, then those ties automatically, peacefully, very beautifully gives you the energy to be a lotus in the midst of slush, in a very old pond, but yet be completely untainted by the slush of the pond. That beauty comes because of Kulotirna Yogini. Now there are interpretations where people say she liberates you, your entire clan will get liberated and all of that. See, when you enter Sri Chakra, it is just your journey. I cannot go with my baggage that me, my wife, my child, my grandfather, my father, my mother. I can't carry my whole baggage and go into Sri Chakra because I'm trying to understand who this I am is first. When I begin to go into the bindu, I realize, my gosh, this Mahabhattarika is the one who is working through this body, who is speaking. Then everybody belongs to whom? Me? No. Everyone belongs to her. That is that one only energy. And in that sense, yes, you can say that Kulotirna Yogini, but that comes as a later on as a bigger sense of realization that will come to stay. But Kulotirna Yogini at this level opens up and cuts the ties from your clans, liberates you, helps you graduate, and helps you see yourself much better. Meditate on these meanings and these concepts. They are very, very beautiful and very interesting. Then comes the sixth Avarna. Excuse me. Thank you. The sixth Avarna is Sarva Rakshakara. So now there is protection. You've come so far in spirituality, nobody is going to let go, you won't fall. And therefore they protect your evolution, if you will. This Swamini, once this energy is awakened, then there is a sense of protection, there's a sense of stability in your own practice, in your own understanding, in your own perception, in your experiences. That a level of permanency begins to come. You won't keep going back, and you won't feel, oh gosh, I have to start all over again. I just don't feel any progress anywhere. It just seems like I'm going round in circles and circles, not getting anywhere. All of that will be a far off dream. I don't know when was the last I even thought like that. It'll be like that. Why? Because when this Chakra Devis all come into harmony, then this Swamini begins to manifest, and she protects you. Protects you. In other words, protects you because you have come so far beautifully. And so she begins to protect. Let us protect the soul, this journey. You know, as you climb higher up in the Himalayas, you start adding layers and layers. Because you want to protect your body, you have put in all the effort and gone up to, let's say, 12,000 feet. Now from 12,000 to 15,000 or 16,000 feet, perhaps as high as I've gone, so I can only relate to that. So from 12 to 16, it's either too cold or you cannot breathe properly, and so on and so forth. And therefore, you begin to protect yourself more, go more slower, take time to rest, and so on and so forth. You become more mindful, more watchful of every step, every breath. That is the idea. The more higher you go, the more protective it has to be. And therefore here, the more deeper you are, the more we are yearning, the more we are going into spirituality, a sense of protection ensues rather. And so this Swamini is Sarva Rakshakara Chakra Swamini. Sarva Rakshakara, she protects you and all around. Protects your consciousness, your mind. She won't let you get upset and drop off. At that point, there is no more faith is shaking, belief is shaking, all of that is gone now. That is because she begins to now protect. The storm comes and goes, but you're protected. You're well established in the temple of the Devi. The yogini here, because of that protection, the yogini begins to reveal to you the secrets of the womb. Here is where cosmic energy, the cosmic wisdom begins to come. Once you're protected from external distractions, once I'm protected from falling off the ladder and the rung, in other words, I become more still, stable, consistent, established. Then this yogini comes. Who is she? Nigarbha yogini. Nigarbha yogini. Shiva is considered Nigarbha in some other text, in some other context. But the idea is he's the secret of the womb. Nigarbha means, in other words, they are dormant, like a fetus in the womb. What is the secret? How does the child grow? What is happening there? And so that secret is revealed, the cosmic womb. Now we're beginning to go into the very center of creation, and that revelation has to come from the yogini. In other words, when these things happen, my dear sisters, brothers, you will begin to know in your heart, nothing can shake that anymore. They can become dormant, but the memory of those experiences stay, and therefore the gifts that they give you will be there for the longest time. And therefore, at this level, there is no question of you even dropping off the practice, because now you're so well established in your practice, you begin to, you're in a different company altogether. So Nigarbha yogini, she reveals herself to you and she guides you into the depth of the womb of the mother. In other words, the womb of nature itself, the womb of Prakriti, the source of creation. Because after this, what? 7th, 8th, that's it, right? So now comes the 7th Avarna. In 7th Avarna, Sarva Roga Hara Chakra Swamini. So once you are established and consistent in your practice, the previous one, no disease can touch you. No ill health will cause you. Now your body is radiating, glowing like a temple of God. And the purpose of that body is self-realization. Nothing else. The body will sustain itself, and you will sustain the body just for that one blissful experience of the realization of the self. Nothing else will interest you, nothing else will matter to you. You will still do your duties, you will still have friends, you will do all that, but that there is a very beautiful concept. We will touch upon it in Raja Yoga when we study that text. We talk of Videha Mukti. It is talked about in Sri Vidya as well. We also know it as Jivan Mukta. The idea is you will learn the art of being liberated while alive. It is not a learning that can come consciously. We can't do sessions on how to be a Jivan Mukta. But that understanding will slowly, very subtle. It's such one of the most subtlest openings. When that begins to happen, nothing else will interest you. Nothing else will catch your attention. Nothing else will register. Even in your conscious brain, it won't even register. It'll go. So that is, when that happens, Sarva Roga Hara, then there will be no disease that can touch you. Because the source of disease is ignorance. All diseases, physical, mental, all of this, ignorance, the lack of identity, and that deep-seated ignorance is what is manifesting in all forms that you see today. In you, around you, in me, around me, everywhere that we see, is that. Once that begins to disappear, then there is the source of disease is wiped off. The greatest source is wiped off. Perhaps the only source is wiped off. Ignorance. And therefore, or getting wiped off. And therefore, no disease comes. Sarva Roga Hara Chakra Swamini. So that Swamini awakens here in the 7th. And the Yogini is Rahasya Yogini. Rahasya and Gupta. We came across Gupta Yoginis. Here, Rahasya Yoginis. So, in layman terms, for those of you who know Hindi or you know Sanskrit, you might say Gupta and Rahasya mean the same. But in this case, Rahasya is not necessarily secret. The way I've understood this, Rahasya means mysterious. Mystery. when we talk of why is there so many deaths? Why are innocent children dying? Why is there suffering? And so on, right? These are the questions that could come, and we don't understand the mystery behind these. I'm just throwing in one of these. Other mysteries are, if you look into space, the mystery just, everything seems out there, seems mysterious. So there are so many things that are still a mystery to us. Our own self, deep inside me, I keep thinking of something and something else happens. How is this? How can I bring my entire being into this? So the mysteries from within, she, Rahasya Yogini, she begins to reveal and explain those mysteries. Slowly the mystery begins to fade. Rahasya Yogini. This is all taking us into, now we are in the ballpark of self-enlightenment, right? So at that point, everything begins to clear. When they awaken, they give darshan, everything at that moment at least begins to be very clear. Rahasya Yogini. Then comes the 8th Avarna. Now we are in that final triangle, where there is actually no movement in that triangle. About movement going clockwise, counterclockwise, I'll come to that. There's a big explanation for that, a detailed explanation. I might have to do a whole class on that. Let's see. But the last one is just one triangle where all the three energies are in complete harmony and exist in harmony. So there it is, right? So that 8th chakra is Sarva Siddhi Prada. Sarva Siddhi Prada. At that moment, it is only success and accomplishments. Nothing else. I am that I am. Not I will be, can I be, I don't know when I will be. All of that is gone. I am accomplished. I am the self. That kind of understanding begins because their prakriti exists, nature exists in a pristine three gunas. And in order to go beyond that, like I said, Kameshwari stops all desires. Khadgamalini comes up with such fierce wisdom that there is no scope for one desire to end and another to begin. And therefore there is no effort, and therefore Vajreshwari fills you with stoic poise and abundance. So you have these energies there. Now this is Sarva Siddhi Prada. There is no effort and all here. This is just all matter of grace and experience. And here Atiragasya Yogini, because these three of them, Kameshwari, Vajreshwari and Khadgamalini, they are Maha Kameshwari, Maha Vajreshwari, Maha Khadgamalini. They are hiding what? The bindu. And therefore this is the Yogini, Atiragasya Yogini, who will teach you how to go beyond the gunas. Like I said earlier, there is no you at that point. She goes, she experiences it. That's all. There is no Sunder to go and experience that. So, Ati Rahasya, the secret of all secrets, the supreme secret is revealed to you by this yogini. And then, of course, we touched upon this, the 9th Avarna, the bindu, where she is Sarvanandamaya Chakra. There it is only Ananda. Because Kameshwara, Shiva, Kameshwari, Devi, Shakti, Shiva and Shakti have merged. So that entire, the whole journey is accomplished, done. There is only one there. Shiva has drawn everything unto himself and he is completely once again lost in that unending intoxication. I'm just using words like intoxication and others. The word is Ananda. Sarvanandamai. That Ananda can be bliss or joy, but there is really no English word, in my opinion. And therefore, I'll keep using Ananda. But just for reference sake, I'm giving you these synonyms. Sarvananda means there is no beginning, there is no end. Completely immersed. And the yogini is there. There is Parapara Rahasya Yogini. The one who knows the secret of the here and the hereafter. We touched upon it a few classes ago. Para, one that is beyond. Apara, that which is not beyond. In other words here, all and complete omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence becomes the very nature of that energy that is at that moment in that body, worshipping the Sri Chakra. And because at that point you can't even say the soul in that body and all, everything has become Shiva and Shakti there, totally. So these are, therefore, my dear friends, the 9 Swaminis and the 9 Yoginis that we will come across in the Devi Khadgamala stotra as we chant. We will enter Avarna, we'll invoke all the Devis, and then we will say, this Chakra Swamini, I bow to you, this Yogini, I bow to you, and then we move on to the next one. And thus it is in true sadhana, in true practice as well. When all energies in different stages begin to harmonize, a blessing comes, and that blessing is the manifestation of that Swamini, the owner of that chakra. I know it sounds very mystical and perhaps interesting. I find it one of the most fascinating journey, study and experience. And that fascination has never dropped even a little bit from the day I started, and I'm not sure when it was, when I began studying the Lalita Sahasranama many, many, many years ago. And thus it is, the magic of this, the beauty of this, the mighty, mysterious phenomenon that the Sri Chakra is. Tomorrow, and that's why I've chosen to do now a series where we just go class after class, because I'm hoping to finish this and I don't want any break. So as and when possible, I'll try and see if we can do this one behind the other, back to back. So we will do a class tomorrow and the day after as well. We will cover the Divya Gurus, the Gurus that we propitiate. Now we go back to the Khadgamala Stotra and say, how do we begin this journey? What do we need to begin this journey, and so on. So let the divine guide us as she has been all these days and months. And so with a heart deep with gratitude, I bring this satsang to an end. Allow me to chant the sacred mantra just for a little bit. Aim Kleem Sauhu, Sauhu Kleem 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 Aim. Samasta lokaah sukhino bhavantu, Samasta lokaah sukhino bhavantu, Samasta lokaah sukhino bhavantu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Jai Bolo Pavan Sutta Hanuman Ki Jai, Siyavar Ramchandra Ki Jai, Satguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai, Namah Parvati Pataye, Hara Hara Mahadev. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.